Just picture this. Imagine being able to legally make $40 million just by flying. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, buckle up because this is the story of American Airlines Airpass, and it's a wild ride. Back in the early 80s, airlines worldwide were facing financial crises, and American companies were no exception. The cost of air travel during that time was 50% higher than it is today. Picture this. Planes were pricier, engines were less efficient, guzzling more fuel, and aviation hadn't reached the level of advancement we see today. In 1981, the company declared a staggering $76 million loss. The situation was dire, and they needed money to stay afloat. The board of directors gathered, and the CEO said, "We need to do something, find solutions that bring in quick cash to keep us from going under." So the brainstorming began. Each member of the board tried to come up with ideas to attract more customers, especially those who rarely flew. They needed offers that would make their flights irresistible. And then, someone had a light bulb moment. This person stood up and said, "We don't need to attract new customers. We need to extract more money from our existing ones, especially our wealthy clients. We can get substantial amounts quickly from them." Intrigued, the board asked for the idea, and he proposed, "Let's create a subscription called Airpass. It's a flight card that, once purchased, allows unlimited travel on our flights for life without any additional fees." It was a brilliant plan to generate immediate revenue. Imagine the allure of never worrying about the cost of a plane ticket again. The Airpass was like Willy Wonka's golden ticket, but for the skies. The CEO loved the idea, and the board went into discussions on how to execute it seamlessly. They came up with two cards. The first was named Airpass, priced at $250,000. The second was called Companion, priced at $150,000. The Airpass allowed the holder to board any American Airlines flight worldwide for the rest of their life, always in first class with all the perks that come with it. As for the Companion Pass, it allowed the cardholder to take anyone on these flights with the same privileges. The catch was that the Companion had to be on the same flight as the pass holder. It wasn't for solo travel using the pass. This companion could change from trip to trip, providing flexibility, whether it's your spouse, child, friend, or anyone you choose. Now, if someone decided to purchase both passes together, they needed to pay $400,000. Keep in mind, we're talking about the year 1981. So $400,000 back then is equivalent to around $1.3 million today, accounting for inflation. It was a significant amount, no doubt, but wait until you hear what you got in return. Some wealthy individuals seized this opportunity, seeing it as an investment in a lifetime of luxury travel. Little did American Airlines know that this move would turn into a saga of its own. As the story unfolds, you'll witness legal battles, accusations of fraud, and the airline trying to rein in the excesses of its own creation. What started as a lifeline for American Airlines turned into a tale of unintended consequences and a lesson in the fine line between innovation and exploitation. So, fasten your seatbelt as we dive into the fascinating story of American Airlines' Airpass, where legal fortunes were made and the sky became the limit in more ways than one. The story starts with Stephen Rothstein buying the Airpass in 1987. Stephen was one of the 66 individuals who purchased the Airpass and added the Companion Pass to his collection. Little did American Airlines know that Stephen would make them regret the day they came up with these passes. Over the next 22 years, he booked more than 10,000 flights. Yes, you heard that right. Wrap your head around this. 8,035 days in 22 years. Meaning he was sometimes booking more than 4 or 5 flights in a single day. And get this, he wasn't even using all the flights he booked. The Airpass allowed him to reserve any flight he desired, creating a cushion of backup reservations in case of delays or unforeseen circumstances. In the end, there was nothing stopping him from booking and canceling at his leisure. Stephen was flying every day for reasons you wouldn't believe. Sometimes he is flying around the globe just for a cup of coffee or a nap in a different time zone. Sometimes he'd fly just to have a sandwich at a specific restaurant. On another day, he might find himself in Paris for breakfast, followed by lunch in London, and then back to the US by night. Each of these journeys was a breeze, thanks to the premium services provided by the pass. He enjoyed exclusive perks in airport lounges and first-class comfort on the plane, including entertainment, gourmet meals, and more. For Stephen, this was the best investment he ever made in his entire life. American Airlines' troubles didn't stop at Stephen. Another person, Jacques Vroom, also bought the Airpass with the companion pass and flew to various destinations for reasons stranger than fiction. On one occasion, Jacques flew to Washington, D.C. to pick up his children's grandfather. Before the flight, while sitting in the VIP lounge at the airport, he struck up a conversation with a fellow passenger who couldn't fathom why Jacques was flying just to bring his wife's father. Jacques casually explained, "My wife and I want to take a short trip and we need someone to stay with the kids. I'll bring her father to babysit." The passenger, bewildered, pointed out the apparent inefficiency of Jacques' plan, suggesting it would be cheaper to hire a babysitter. Imagine the passenger's shock when Jacques revealed that these flights were more cost-effective than hiring a babysitter. Not to mention, the flight was easy and enjoyable since it was in first class, providing ultimate comfort. And also, it's more comfortable for the children to stay with their grandfather. In the end, the unimaginable became possible because of these passes. For Jacques and Stephen, these passes weren't just a means of travel. They were a ticket to a lifestyle of convenience, luxury, and countless unique experiences. Over the years, Stephen covered a total distance of 42 million kilometers, while Jacques traveled around 38 million kilometers. Together, their journeys spanned a staggering 88 million kilometers, enough for over 100 round trips to the moon and back. These numbers may sound mind-boggling, but for them, it was just another day in the sky thanks to their air passes. The airline estimated that each of these pass holders cost them $1 million annually, especially with the frequent bookings and subsequent cancellations. The problem wasn't just about losing revenue from canceled bookings, it also meant losing first-class seats that could have been sold to other customers. Yet, technically, they weren't violating any terms of the contract between them and the airline. It was like legal theft, and they continued with this approach for 20 years, ultimately costing American Airlines more than $40 million. American Airlines responded by periodically increasing the price of the air passes. Initially priced at $250,000, it was raised to $600,000 in 1990, and then again to $1 million in 1993. However, they soon realized that the entire program was causing them substantial losses, leading to its closure in 1994. The airline reopened the program back in 2004 as a Christmas gift, but no one bought any as the price was $4 million for the Airpass only. In 2007, faced with significant financial troubles, American Airlines had to minimize costs to the maximum and formed a specialized team to review their accounts. Surprisingly, they discovered the enormous expenses incurred by these pass holders, primarily Stephen and Jacques. Even the other pass holders, like Mike Joyce, weren't holding back. For instance, Mike booked round-trip flights to London 16 times in just 25 days. The major issue for American Airlines wasn't just that these pass holders were traveling more than anticipated. It was the substantial number of booked flights that were being canceled last minute. According to the company's report, Stephen alone booked over 3,000 flights in less than 4 years, but canceled more than 2,500 of them. Keep in mind that many of these cancellations were on first-class seats, resulting in significant losses for the airline. Jacques, the other pass holder, was following a similar pattern, often booking consecutive flights without clear reasons, like booking a flight at 10 a.m. and another at 12 p.m. to the same destination, just in case he changed his mind later. It seemed they were indeed misusing their passes, but technically, they weren't violating the terms of their contract. In July 2008, Jacques received a message informing him that his Airpass was canceled before his trip from London Heathrow. He was accused of selling his companion pass because, according to their records, he traveled with over 100 different companions, most of whom didn't return with him on the return flights, indicating that he might have been selling these flights to others. The matter escalated to the point where the airline tried to contact some of the people who had traveled with Jacques to inquire if they had paid him anything. Jacques denied these allegations, considering the airline's actions primitive. Similarly, in 2008, American Airlines sent Stephen a similar message. The reason was that he was reserving precautionary seats under fake names for his companion pass, essentially using the pass to bring strangers with him. For example, he might offer someone at the airport a free flight to accompany him, then cancel the previous companion pass reservation under a fake name and replace it with a new one for the person he just met. This raised ethical concerns, and the airline considered it fraudulent. Also, he sometimes reserves the seat under fake names and leaves it empty to get more privacy. In any case, the airline revoked their passes and those of several others. Stephen and Jacques, however, didn't stay silent and filed lawsuits against American Airlines. But fighting a billion-dollar company with vast resources and stronger legal teams in court is exceptionally challenging. In the end, an out-of-court settlement was reached between the company and Stephen and Jacques. To this day, 25 people still hold active passes, like Michael Dell, Mark Cuban, and baseball player Willie Mays, allowing them unlimited travel on any American Airlines flight. And that brings us to the end of this story. You can watch this story if you haven't seen it before, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Ciao.